My name is Alana Blockley and I was born in Glasgow, and I've lived here all my life. My family is from the fairground community, which means every summer the community we have machines and kiosks, snack bars, and we travel up and down the country, and it's for the fairgrounds, so this is our livelihood, this is our business. And my family stopped this when I was younger, and we've continued to have snack bars and kiosks for the past 20 years. So I just went to school during the winter months, and then at the summer I would help my mum and dad in their business, and there was no option of having a day lying in bed doing nothing. I was, had to go out and learn the family business and learn how the way the travelling life was. But as I grew older, I wanted to continue my education, so I stuck in at school. I had no religious upbringing when I was a child, it's not really anyway. At school we had an RE class, a religious class that we had to go to, and I don't actually remember learning about other religions. I only remember learning about Christianity, and we spent most of the time watching different cartoon videos of the prophets and stuff like that, and that was the fun part, watching the cartoons. But the only thing I remember is going to church at primary school in a group and saying the Hail Marys and things like that. But it was nothing really taken seriously. It wasn't like we went to Sunday school, or I didn't go to the church every Sunday or anything. And throughout the year it would be Christmas and Easter that we would celebrate, out of the fact that everyone else around us was eating chocolate or buying Christmas presents. But it wasn't really made, it wasn't an emphasised thing that it was about God and that it was a religious holiday. That wasn't really the main focus of it. It was just something that we did because it was the social normality. So my opinion of Muslims and Islam before I became a Muslim was that I was heavily influenced by the Pakistani community, and I just saw Islam through them, and the way they dressed and the food and everything like that. But I just listened to what the media sort of said, that the typical things, that they're bad people and they're terrorists, the men beat the wife, and the wives can't work and they need to stay at home and cook and clean all day, and that's the only sort of perception that I had. Because I never had any Muslim friends, I didn't have a need to worry about what I thought anyway. It was just part of our country, and that was, I accepted it. But it wasn't until I started to meet Muslims and start to question Islam that my perceptions of Muslims and about Islam changed as well, and I started to understand that Islam is across the world, and there's different cultures, and the different countries, they live Islam in their own way. And I understood that the women, they have jobs, they study, they have families, and they still do all the things that I do, and that they're not actually bad people, and the men don't all beat their wives, are actually good guys out there as well that are Muslims. 2.5 years ago, I was really fed up. I just finished college, and I was 18 and a half, and I was thinking, what do I want to do with my life? And I was struggling to figure out what type of career I wanted. So I packed all my money away, and I booked a holiday to Fuerteventura, and I decided that I wanted to go away for the full summer and just have a life, a 6-month period away from family, away from friends, and get a job in a bar if I could, stay in an apartment with someone, meet new people, do whatever I liked, drink, party, anything that I wanted to do. I felt, well, this is my time to do it, and I'm young, single, I can do what I like. So that was the plan. And then leading up to the summer, a few things happened. The ash clouds came, and ended up with my cat. My cat had an operation, so it took all my savings away. So I couldn't, long story short, I couldn't go to Spain for 6 months. I could only go for 2 weeks. So I went over there for 2 weeks, and when I was over there was these Muslims that I met, and a lot of Moroccans are over there at the moment, and they started to explain to me that they prayed and they didn't drink, and you know, they did normal things. They liked, you know, films and going shopping, and I just never. I thought Muslims just stayed at home and cooked and cleaned, and that was all they did. And you know, the men, you know, went to the mosque and that was it. But I was shown this completely different side to what Muslims are, and you know, simple things like I went to the shop and I was given back more change than what I gave the woman. And my friend at the time said, you know, what are you doing? Like, that's wrong. You need to give the change, the money back. You've been given too much change. You know, you need to give that back and be honest. And it didn't occur to me that, yeah, that's actually the right thing to do. So just like even small things like courtesy and, you know, having respect and, you know, just small things that I've not been shown. I don't know if maybe it's a cultural thing, but I could definitely see over time that it was through religion that, you know, having patience, that things will work out. And like having a trust in God, that I'd never been shown that before. So that was my first encounter. And what confused me was, if these people, Muslims that I've met are so good, why is the world portraying Muslims as being the worst people in the world? I just didn't understand that. So it was from that moment when I went home, and I didn't have a holiday full of drinking wild parties. I went home sober. So I spent the next year studying Islam and went to different classes and got different books, not with the intention to convert, but just to understand the reasons why, you know, why is there good Muslims and why is there bad Muslims, and why is the media portraying all Muslims to be bad? And that was the thing that I wanted to find out more about. When I studied the books and I understood that God isn't a man sitting on a chair with a white beard and a white robe, you know, it's not a person. God, you know, when I started to learn all the different attributes of God and like the names of God and all the different like that God isn't a person, you know, that's what I really liked, and I thought, well, that is what I believe, and that just appealed to me more because the thought that I had beforehand that God was a person, was a man, and I felt I was being judged by a man didn't sit right with me at all. So I did believe it, and I looked at all the different things about Islam, about there being one God, and books, prophets, you know, angels, what happens when you die, and all of the different aspects I believed. And I believed these things before I knew anything about Islam, but I didn't actually know it was Islam that I was believing in. And the concept of like Jesus being the Son of God, that wasn't really it wasn't sitting right with me, because I felt a bit uncomfortable that about Jesus, about God having a son and anything like that. So I was a bit, I wasn't too sure about that, and that's why I didn't have a strong faith beforehand. But when I did study Islam and all the different things became clearer to me, then I started to think, well, that's actually what I've believed in my whole life and just didn't know it. So in 2010, I decided to take my Shahada. I went to a New to Islam class on a Wednesday, and I met loads of lovely women there, and they supported me for a few weeks that they would support me to take my Shahada and be with me at the time. So I went 1 week, and with my scarf all wonky, not even around my head properly, and yeah, I took my Shahada, and it was really, really nice and really welcoming. And they gave me lots of books and encouraged me to go back every week and learn, you know, learn Islam through them, and that I was just to be patient on my journey and to take every step slowly, and it was you know, I remember it like yesterday, but I was really nervous, and but it was really nice, really welcoming day. So after I took my Shahada, it was about a year and a half later that I actually told people. Only my Muslim friends knew that I was a Muslim. So it took me a full year to cut out alcohol and to start eating halal food. And then I told my parents, and I was really nervous for telling them. So just before Ramadan, I knew that if I was going to do it, I would lose weight, and it would be quite noticeable. and my family would, because they live so close to me, they would see that I'm not eating, and they would question what on earth I'm doing. So I came home from work one day and went and spoke to Mum and Dad and said that there's something that I really needed to tell them. And they started to get really nervous because they didn't have a clue what I was going to say. And I told them, they says to me, "Are you pregnant, you know, or have you crashed your car or something like that?" And I says, "No." I says, "What actually is I want to be a Muslim." And they was fine with that, completely fine, and they've adjusted really well. And you know, they've got used to seeing me wearing hijab and like even calling me a Muslim, so they're completely fine now. And my friends have been not too bad, but I think they've just had to adjust with the fact that I don't go out clubbing with them anymore. But the friends that mean the most to me, and the ones that truly are friends with me, I've still got, and it doesn't matter if I'm Muslim or not. So my advice to anyone thinking about converting to Islam is to read up on it a lot, and to not listen to the Sheikh Google, and you know, go on and read different books, listen to different people, watch different YouTube lectures, and come to your own conclusions. And then if you do decide to come to Islam, you know, take each day at a time, and don't put too much pressure on yourself, and know that you are new and it is a gradual learning process. So to combat Islamophobia, in my opinion, through what I've learned so far, it's that Muslims, whether they're born or revert, should definitely lead to show Islam through example, and shouldn't be all talk. They need to do it and show it in their actions, and show non-Muslims Islam through the way they live their life. And you know, when bad things happen in the press, they shouldn't jump on it like they do, because all non-Muslims are looking at Muslims' reactions and how they deal with stuff. So I think as long as there's Muslims, when they're dealing with non-Muslims, that they're open and they're able to talk about their religion and make it adaptable, that Islam is for every individual, and you don't have to be an Arab to be a Muslim. That you can be a white British female and still be a Muslim. You just need to make certain adjustments and live it the way you know you can adapt your life to be like that. I didn't think 3 years ago that I'd be sitting here wearing a scarf, but I am. And I didn't think a year ago that my mum would be stopping smoking, and you know, the past few weeks, alhamdulillah, she has. So you never know, that could be in 5 years that they stop drinking. You just don't know. But if I wasn't a Muslim and someone came up to me in the street and started, you know, talking about religion, I'd be like, who are you to, like, what are you all about? But I think it's more about the actions that people have. So like, we have got into these conversations about God and different things, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm their daughter, so I don't want to question them about certain things, because at the end of the day it's their decision and they can only make that decision on their own. So as far as I'm concerned, I would rather not perfect myself, but you know, set a good example myself, and for them to see maybe not in a year, but maybe 2 or 3 years, and say, well, she's actually became a better person, but it's because of Islam that she's like that. But it certainly opened my mum and dad's perceptions of Islam. And you know, we all have, the majority of people have this assumption that Muslims are this and Muslims are that, which is what I believed. But obviously now I'm a Muslim and I don't think like that. Not so long ago it was Islam Awareness Week in Scotland, and I was asked to give a talk. And I thought that would be a really, really good opportunity to bring them to Glasgow Central Mosque, because you know, we've always drove past it, but it's not something that they would think, oh, we're going to go in and have a tour of the mosque. So I brought them down, and I knew they was nervous. I knew they was thinking, oh, it'll be a bunch of terrorists in the back. You know, I knew they would, not thinking like that, but thinking that, oh, there's going to be all these scary looking guys with beards and stern faces and not being accepting, or not wanting, because my mum doesn't wear a scarf, and you know, and my mum was worried, what should I wear? Should I be covered up? Should I? And my dad's like, do I look okay? And I says, listen, don't worry, like, you know, they're not gonna judge you or anything. It's an open day. It's to, you know, invite people and let people understand what Islam is. It's open for everyone, regardless of who you are. So when they went, I knew they felt really comfortable, and the exhibition that was on was beautiful, and it had a lot of history and a lot of stuff that my dad knew about Islam, and a lot of stuff that he didn't know, and the talks was lovely. And I think it really, you know, the Muslims that was there, they wasn't saying all Islamic terms and seeming really foreign and like as if they didn't understand them. There was really, you know, have the Glasgow slang and really approachable. And I think my mum and dad really appreciated that you can be a Muslim and still be, you know, fun. You know, you don't have to be a boring person because you're a Muslim and be all, you know, like preaching. It's not like that, you know. We're just normal people. So when I started to study about Islam, the things that I focused on was stuff that was relating to me. For example, the way women are treated and hijab. And I just learned, you know, the reasons why you wear hijab and you know, what hijab consists of, and the role of the woman in like in the house and how she's to behave towards our husband and our friends and what our duty is, and that was the stuff that I focused on because that was the thing that I was unsure about and that I thought I had a lot of misconceptions about, and that was the thing that I wanted to make clear of. If I'm going to be a Muslim, am I going to be expected to do certain things that maybe I don't agree with or what? So that's what I wanted to focus on and learn about. So when I was looking at, you know, religion and looking about, you know, following a religion and rather than just believing in God, what I noticed was that if you're a Christian, you know, for me, all that consists of is you celebrating Christmas and Easter and you go to church on a Sunday. There's nothing more to it than that. But when you look at Islam, you know, there's so much that it involves. You know, it affects your whole way of life. So it affects, you know, what you eat, how you dress, how you act, the way you deal with things, you know, for praying and everything. So I knew that if you was a Christian, I didn't feel as if I would have any structure in my life, that all you would do is go to church on a Sunday, then that would be it. Whereas if you're a Muslim, you know, you need to pray 5 times a day. You know, you're constantly reminded about God in every action that you do. So I felt as if that was more of a structure to my life and my daily life as well, and that's what appealed to me more. That in fact, if you follow Islam, you have a set of guidelines and a set of rules laid down in front of you that you're supposed to try and abide by, rather than you just blatantly choosing parts of a religion that you would want to do and what you don't want to do. Last Christmas, that was the first Christmas that I had when I converted. So the big question was, what are we going to do about Christmas? And I says to them, you know, you're my only family, I don't have any brothers or sisters, so I'm not going to sit alone on Christmas Day and just stop the tradition that we've had the whole of my life. So we came to the compromise that we would have a halal Christmas dinner. So I made the big deal, like the month before it, to go to the halal butchers that we have and order a turkey. So we had everything prepared. My dad wasn't going to you know, prepare the food with any alcohol or anything, and it was going to be a completely halal dinner. And then when we went over to the butchers the day before, the turkey was actually humongous. And my mum and I, we both freaked out because we thought that'll never fit in our oven, so we couldn't actually end up getting the turkey. So last minute I ended up getting a halal chicken, and they had to go to Tesco and get some food. So it was half a halal Christmas dinner. It was the best attempt that we had. So I cooked my chicken, and then, you know, they cooked theirs, and we still had a good time. So inshallah this Christmas we'll have a completely halal Christmas dinner. And then not so long ago, my dad, I think he expresses his understanding through food in a way. It's a bit weird, but that's what he does. And they've been buying a lot of halal food now because I live so close with them. We eat a lot of, like, my dinners with them quite a lot, and it's been a bit of a hassle. It's, oh, you can't eat that. And my mum, I go over and I say to mum, what's in the fridge? And she's like, well, there's salad and there's ham. Oh, but you can't eat ham. So, oh, we'll just have a tin of soup. So she's, you know, trying to remember that I don't eat ham and stuff. But my dad went and made me spaghetti bolognese, and he's like, oh, you need to try it, it's lovely, it's halal. I went and bought halal mince, and it's halal this, and it's all, and I'm like, okay. And I ate it was lovely. And then when I went home, I was thinking, wait a minute. So I phoned him up and I says, Dad, did you put wine in this? And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot that you can't have wine. So I was like, well, it wasn't halal then, was it? But you know, these things happen, and he did make an effort, so that's all I can ask for. So my first encounter with the Quran was when I was given the Quran. It was a small one, but I didn't really look at it too much because I actually couldn't see the writing. It was that small. But my friend Safi and Gemma, they both chipped in and got me a lovely, a big massive Quran, and it had the English in it, the Arabic and the transliteration, so I'd be able to attempt to pronounce it. So they bought me that, and it was really nice, a really nice gift to be given from them. So the main reasons that I wanted to become a Muslim was because when I started to understand it and I started to realise that that's actually what I believed in, I felt that there was no need to hide that. You know, you can only live for so long and not come out to everyone and express that that's what you believe in. So I wanted to be a Muslim because it is actually what I believe is the truth. And also other aspects, for example, wearing hijab, I felt as if that's, you know, protected me in a way. I don't feel as if I need to live a lifestyle based on what other people assume, and that I can just live it the way I believe it should be done Islamically, and it's pleasing to God. If I was to describe Muhammad, peace be upon him, the one story that I learned, I was told by Sheikh Amar, was that, I don't know specifics and specific names, but I do remember the story that he would walk past this woman's house every day, and she didn't like him, so she kept throwing like garbage or something from her window, and every day he would just ignore it and like continue going to wherever he was going, and every day it would happen, and she would shout abuse and whatever. And then one day he went past and she didn't throw the garbage out onto him. So he was wondering, he was like, why is the woman not, you know, giving me all the abuse? So he went in and he says, like, where's this woman? What's happened to her? And she was sick. And he was, you know, I don't know specifically, but I'm sure that he went over and like says to her or says to family members or something that, you know, is she okay? You know, I hope she gets better and everything. So that just goes to show that, you know, I really love that story, that even if someone's, you know, harmful to you or doing bad things, you know, you don't just treat them like that. Maybe they're naive and maybe they don't understand you or don't understand why you're a Muslim or why you do certain things. But if you just be patient and show through your actions that you can be forgiven and that, you know, you're a caring person, then I think that's a good moral to live your life by through that story. What Islam means to me is, you know, being part of a community that believes in the same thing, and feeling at peace and feeling comfortable and knowing what you actually believe in, and knowing that you have a set of values that you want to live your life by and sticking to that. So that's what I like about it, and I think if everyone, you know, made some changes in their life and came to Islam, then they would see over in the long run that it is actually a better way to live, and there's much better, you know, when you start to not to appreciate the materialistic things in life, and you come away from that, and you know you start to value different things, you know, like family, for example. You know, having good relationships with your family, you start to appreciate the importance of that, and that's through Islam that you learn that. So I think even something as simple as that's, you know, a good aspect of Islam, and it's a fun way to live, and more peaceful and happier, and the best way.